What's going on, guys? My name is Ben. How are you guys doing today? What I have for you today in this video is actually an overview of iOS 6. iOS 6 was just released today, 12:30 in the morning. I wasn't up till then, so I just updated my brother's iPod Touch here just now, and I already played around with iOS 6 a little bit. So far, so good. Even though this isn't a drastically revamped of iOS itself, but there are some cool little features in there. So what I want to do is go over that. Okay, so the first feature that has been integrated into iOS 6 is the Maps application. So what happened before was that Apple used Google Maps and then they integrated it into their operating system. Now, however, their license with Google has actually expired. So, because their license expired with Google, they had to create their own Maps application. And I think Apple wanted to do this in the first place because now that they are competing against Google, they are now rivals. So, I don't know what the issue was, but it doesn't matter because what matters the most is if you're going to be able to use this device or not. So, this is running on the iPod Touch 4th generation, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Maps application. Okay, so as you can see, when you're panning around, you usually get those little squares, and they're usually silver. And when you see that, that's because it's just loading up the map. Well, now they are black. So as you can see, the Maps application looks really nice. And I actually like this better than Google Maps, than the previous Maps application, which was Google Maps. This one, when you pinch and zoom, it just keeps zooming in, as you can see right there. Pretty cool. And of course, you can actually spin the map around. Not bad. And then you push this button right here. You can actually select a route that you want to route from to this location right here, in this case Smart Park JFK. Okay, so you have the search box right here, which of course you type in all your searches, and of course you have your bookmarks button right here, as well as the current location button. Now you notice here, when Apple was demonstrating this Maps application at the keynote, there was supposed to be two buttons right here. However, one of them is missing, and that is the 3D view. 3D view, it basically gives you a closer look at the location you are searching. Now, just think of it as Street View, for example. The 3D button is not there on the iPod Touch 4th generation running iOS 6. Now, that's probably because it probably can't handle the 3D viewing, which is why Apple decided to not integrate that into the iPod Touch. And that's mainly used for iPhones if you're trying to use the GPS, so that way you can get to your location if you were to use turn-by-turn navigation. Yes, this is turn-by-turn navigation. Google Maps, before running on this device, it did not have any turn-by-turn navigation at all. You had to spend around $50 or over in order to pay for specific GPS applications, whether you're using Magellan, TomTom, or Garmin, or whatever GPS application that's in the App Store right now. But those are the top three in terms of GPS. So the new Maps application, I really like it, and you can then also get traffic updates. You can view it in a standard, which is just a regular map, hybrid, satellite. You can drop the pin as well. You can print directions or high traffic. Okay, and if you actually take your finger and actually hold down on the screen, you automatically just drop your pin, and then when you push on the pin and you click the arrow, you actually get some information about the location you're looking at. In this case, this is Smart Park JFK. I don't know if that phone number was shown or not. Oh well. Okay, so Smart Park JFK, and as you can see, you got some reviews right here, and you got some photos of the parking facility itself, which this isn't a really good photo to represent, to show what their parking is like. Oh well. And then you can check out more reviews from the Yelp app, and you must have the Yelp app in order to see the reviews. in this case, the Yelp app isn't installed on this thing, so because it's not installed, it just directed me to the App Store and take me to the download page on where I can download Yelp. Alright, so that was the new Maps application. Now I just want to exit out of this, and I want to talk about another feature that was on iOS 6. Okay, so first of all, Siri. Now, no, Siri is not on the iPod Touch 4th generation, but it is on the new iPod Touch 5th generation. Alright? And Siri, all it does is that it can like read sports news to you, and like you can ask it like who won, this person or this person, and then it'll just tell you. It basically just, Siri is pretty much just improved, so that way you can have sports results set to you. Okay, next up is Facebook. Now, I don't have it set up right here, but in iOS 5, Apple has integrated Twitter into iOS, so that way you don't have to keep going into the Twitter application, the dedicated Twitter application, or TweetDeck or Tweetbot, whatever Twitter application you have, in order to do a simple tweet. Alright, now you can just do it directly on your device, and if you want to set that up, it's very easy. Okay, and now you have to follow these steps. All you have to do is go into settings, and then you're going to go scroll down, and you're going to see Facebook right there. And in this case, if it says that Facebook is not installed, then what you would do is click that button and then install it, and then what you do is you just put in all your information. Alright, that's the same thing with Twitter right here. Alright, so if you want to have your Facebook account integrated into the iOS operating system, you can do that if you wish. Okay, so shared photo stream. Now, you guys are familiar with iCloud. iCloud, it was where whatever you do on one device, it'll sync to your other device. Okay, so photos was one of them. Now, what you can do with photos is that you can share it. Alright, you can choose to who you want to share your photos with, and then they're on to the next person's iOS device. Alright, anybody using iCloud on iOS 6 or a Mac running Mountain Lion, the photos will be delivered to them immediately, and then you can pretty much just stream them onto your Apple TV, etc. And of course, they work over Wi-Fi and cellular network. So that's a plus. You guys really like sharing your photos, and for those of you photo sharers, hopefully you guys enjoyed the pics that your friends send you, and hopefully they are not something that you don't want to see. Okay, now on to the next app is Passbook. Now, what is Passbook? Passbook is pretty much an app where it'll hold all your stuff together, such as boarding passes, tickets, your credit cards, store cards, or coupons, whatever. And in order for this app to work, because I couldn't figure it out, because there's this button right here that says App Store, and then they took me to a list of apps that I have to download. So I figured you'd have to download all those apps, and they're all free, by the way. Downloading those apps, and then this application will be able to work with you. So that's just my guess. Maybe it could be something different. I don't know. But right now, I'm not able to use Passbook because I don't have it set up in a way that Apple will probably want me to. But for those of you guys that really want to use Passbook to hold all your tickets together, that is a way to go. Okay, now let's talk about FaceTime. Okay, so FaceTime, it was released in 2010 with the iPhone 4. Now, with the FaceTime application, you're able to communicate with someone by video calling as long as they have an iOS device. Just an iOS device. No Android phones or anything. If you wanted to do it with people that have other phones, you would have to use a third-party video calling app such as Skype or I don't know what else. Yahoo Messenger, whatever. But what FaceTime allows you to do now with iOS 6 is that you can video call over cellular network, and that there is this one thing that I wanted to talk about, because Apple specifically, they said that FaceTime will only be available over Wi-Fi just in 2010. And when 2011 came out with the iPhone 4S, that promise was pretty much broken because we were never able to FaceTime call other iOS devices on cellular network until this year, 2012. So it took Apple literally 2 years. So I think their claim was off by 1 year, and I just feel like they weren't doing a very good job in terms of their claim, because if you go back to the iPhone 4 announcement, Steve Jobs has stated that FaceTime over Wi-Fi is only gonna operate like that in 2010, and then he said that next year, hopefully, we can roll it out on the networks, and it sounded like it was a definite, but unfortunately, that was not the case. All right, so FaceTime over cellular. If you guys don't care and you just feel like, oh, you gotta know, then that's good. Okay, now the phone application. So the phone application, in this case, I'm using the iPod Touch 4th generation. So the phone application doesn't matter for you iPod Touch users right there, but you do have some new features right there. And when I say the phone application, I'm talking about with the iPhone, and then you hit the phone application, and then this is your phone app right here. Okay, so with the phone application, what do you have new in the phone application? Well, let's see. If somebody calls you now, it'll send directly to your voicemail, and you can actually reply with a message, and you can actually have it remind you later that you will call them back. Because let's say if someone calls you, now you got the options to, of course, decline or answer the call, or slide to answer, or there's a little icon that'll be appearing right here, and all you do is slide it up, and then you get a few more options. You can either reply with message or remind me later, and then you have other options saying I'll call you later, I'm on my way, what's up, custom. So it'll pretty much like send the other caller a text message on what's going on with you and what you can do. Alright, so the next feature I want to talk about is Mail. Okay, so Mail, we all know the email client on the iOS. So they're pretty much streamlined. Like, there's a streamlined interface for the Mail application right here. And for you guys that don't know, the Mail application is right here. Alright, so the Mail application was improved a little bit. I'm not going to go over that too much. Okay, now Safari. So Safari now has iCloud tabs, which tracks the pages that you have opened up on your iOS device, and it'll pretty much just sync everything where you left off on across all your other devices. Now, is there a change in the user interface with Safari? Well, from what I've seen, Safari seems the same. I mean, as you can see, this Safari seems the same. One thing I noticed is that, when I'm on the web page and I look at the URL link, it has that reader button right there. I never seen that before, but that could be because I'm so used to iOS 4 that I haven't played with iOS 5 for a while. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the accessibility icon, and the feature that Apple was talking about was guided access. So if you guys don't know what guided access is, guided access is basically a feature where you can have your iOS device stay in one application. So if no matter how many times you hit the home button, it will not exit out of that application. And the reason for that is because maybe you have it lined up in your store and you want people to see the prices of your products. And somebody tries to hit the home button, they'll be jumping onto something else and trying to play games. And they can't do that when you have guided access on. And this could also be used when you're in class, or you're a professor or a teacher, and you pretty much have it stay on the application. So when they're taking a test, the student's taking a test, then they can't go onto Safari and cheating to get all the answers. Which nobody in this world does that. Nah, there are some people that do that. Okay, so you go into Settings, General, scroll down, Accessibility, no, not International, Accessibility, okay, and then you scroll down until you see Guided Access right here. So what you do is you switch that on, and then you tap the home button 3 times, so you triple click it, and then it'll activate that guided access feature. Now, in this case, if you have a device with a stuck home button like my brother has right here, you might not be able to do that unless you were to have this. Maybe this might work. I don't know. Should work. Alright. And what else do we have to talk about? The camera application. So the camera application got improved a little bit. As you can see, interface, I don't know if this is the way it was on iOS 5. I don't remember. But in this case, with the iPod Touch, if you go to options, all you have is the grid option. The additional option that Apple has added into iOS with iOS 6 is panorama. So panorama is basically where you take your device and you move it across the atmosphere in order to create one big picture. So it'll be like one scene. Alright, so if you're familiar with your digital cameras and the panorama feature on them, that's what it is. Except now this is on iOS, and you just have to keep it steady so the pictures look good. They look like great quality pictures. In this case, the iPod Touch 4th generation does not support that, probably because this feature will make the iPod Touch not be able to handle it properly. Alright, so that is basically all the features that I've went over for iOS 6, the main features for iOS 6. So overall, iOS 6 is great. However, it is not a drastic change, but however, you do have to update anyway, because if you don't, then any applications that are made for iOS 6 might not be able to work in the future if you're just running on iOS 5, or especially me with iOS 4 on the iPhone 3G right here. Alright, so one other thing that I noticed is that, and we all already noticed, is that iOS 6 does not have the YouTube app anymore, and that's due to the fact, back to what I was saying when I was going over the Maps application, is that Google's license with Apple has expired, or Apple's license with Google has expired, I'm sorry. So they had to let Google create their own YouTube app and put it into the App Store, and that's a free download, which the app is right here. So if you guys want to download that, just go into the App Store. It's a free download, and you need that if you want to watch YouTube videos without having to go into the web browser on your iOS device. So what do you guys think about iOS 6? Were you disappointed? Not disappointed? Me? I'm 50-50. I was slightly excited and slightly disappointed because there was like no revamp of iOS. I mean, yeah, some of the user interface has changed a little bit, such as the music app, but that was pretty much it. You know, nothing drastically changed, no customization like Android. But I'm interested to see what you guys think in the comments down below, so leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. You have a good day now and take care.